Yep.
Let's do it.
Yo, what's happening? It's the JoyRide with your man Vidal Gabriel. I'm back after a long hiatus. Last time y'all seen me, it was right before the pandemic kicked off, but now I'm back doing my thing. And I got a special guest with me. He's a Canadian composer. He's worked on a lot of classic TV shows and some anime you might have grown up loving here in Canada if you are from Canada or seen it elsewhere. Give it up for my man Richard Rodwell. How y'all doing?
Good, man. Good. How are you, man?
Thank you, man. This man, I can define him as punctual because I emailed him yesterday and he got back to me immediately and we quickly put this all together. So I gotta thank you so much for being so punctual and actually coming on to my show. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man. I appreciate it. One thing I gotta say for anybody out there listening, punctuality. When an opportunity comes, you just jump on it. If somebody emails you, email them right back. If somebody texts you, text them right back. Don't not like a day later. Oh, yo, man, I'm so sorry, man. It comes off a little more professional when you just jump on things right away. So
I feel that.
Good to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you. And just looking through all your credits, all the stuff you worked on, you got quite a resume. But before we jump straight into that, I'm gonna start with some basics, namely introduce yourself to the people and how did you get into music originally?
All right, cool. Well, my name is Richard Rodwell. Born in England, Jamaican parents, grew up in Canada. The musical journey started at a very, very early age, like 5. So my parents bought me an organ. One of these little plastic organ that stood on legs, and it was one of these things that you had a keyboard and you played the keyboard, and on the left side of the organ you had chords, so you press a button and you get like a D chord, you press another button you get like an A chord, and while you're holding down the chords you could play melodies on the keyboard. And I was just fascinated. I was like, wow, man, you can press this thing, just press your thing with your finger and music comes out. I was fascinated. And so from then I started actually making my own songs, and whenever family was over, my parents would be, oh, Richard, play them a song. And so okay, and so that's how it started. And then I did it in public school and did talent shows and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this is great. This is my purpose, is to make music.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I never actually seen a toy organ like that. You can just press one button and it just gives you chords like that. That's a unique toy organ. Like when I came up, I grew up around music myself too. Like I came up in the church, right? So
nice.
I was always around music. Like if you weren't singing and my grandparents were playing, they're playing Mahalia Jackson or they're playing the Winans or whomever else. But that's all besides the point. So yeah, you started off young, and then around, let's say, mid-'80s, you get into music production and management. You're working with Beat Factory. Now, when I knew of Beat Factory, when I was growing up, like in the mid-'90s, Beat Factory was a record label, and they had artists like Infinite, Citizen Kane, Cardinal Official, and I think a little later on, Glenn Lewis. Yeah, they had Glenn Lewis on the roster for a bit. But before that, it was mainly production and management company, and you were, and according to your website, you were a co-owner of that?
Yeah, so I'll take you back to the roots of how this all started. So there was a gentleman by the name of Ivan Berry. I'm sure many people have heard that name.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan went to the same high school as I did, which is Dunbarton and Pickering. And another good friend of mine who actually showed me about electronic music, his name is Lennox Grant. His name has got to be in this interview, because if he wasn't around, like I would have no idea about this electronic music. And so anyways, Lennox and I would walk around the hallways playing little Casio keyboards. So he had a Casio keyboard, you know, remember the ones that it's got, well, this might be before your time, but
I know all the old school ones. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a little tiny one, and, you know, it had the, you know, the da beat.
Oh, I know that one. I know that.
And so he would play that and was doing these little melodies. And I was like, whoa, that's cool, man. And so I'm like, okay, well, if you got one, then I got to get one. So I bought a Casio keyboard, and the two of us would go around in the hallways just playing jams, right? And then like crowds would be around us. And, oh, look at those guys. Oh, that's so cool. And so along comes a guy called Ivan Berry. And he's like, oh, you guys are great, man. You know, I could get you gigs at the roller skating rink, you know, because he used to do like management at the local roller skating. So he got us shows, and we started doing like these live shows. And then we got a singer, Rupert Gale, and we were known as Traffic Jam. And we went around playing all around Toronto and just doing all these shows. And like I had 6 keyboards on one end, and Lennox had another 6 on his.
6?
Yeah, 6. I had 3 and 3, and he had 3 and 3. And we just did these shows, like these electronic shows, and people were like really digging it. And then we were doing that for a while, and then we were like, hey, you know what? Well, why don't we start a production company? Well, what's a production? Well, you know, let's make these grooves, and then people could, you know, other artists could sing on them. So Ivan was like, oh man, I met this guy called Louis. You know, this guy is great. You know, Louis Robinson from the Dream Warriors, of course. And this guy's great. You got to come and check him out. So we watched the show of Louis. We were all blown away. I'll tell anybody out there, Louis is a genius, like really, really talented. And then that's how it all started, basically. We just started, you know, making music, making records. We did a demo for the Dream Warriors, and we did this 3-song demo, and Ivan took it over to England via a guy called Nick Smash, who was a publicist. And Nick, I think, brought it to Island Records, and Island Records was like, wow, that's amazing. But you guys got to finish an album immediately. And
wow.
That's how it all started. And it was like 19-hour days and sleeping on the floor in the basement to do the record. And you know, sure enough, Wash Your Face, My Sink was the first single, went top 10 in England. We did a whole 6-week tour over there, and then that's basically how it all started.
That is that's crazy. Like that's like y'all listening in, that is dedication, hard work when you when you're doing an album. We have it. Well, we got it a little easier now, because like nowadays you can set it up all the shop in your home now. Like you got the studio set up, you can bring people in. But back then it was a lot different though.
Totally different. I mean, I remember like when you say started from the bottom. Now we hear it like bro, I'm talking about taking my keyboard, lugging it down on my back, taking the T2C and going down to like the basement of a barber shop and setting up and doing recordings, like real grassroots stuff, right?
That's what makes it hip hop though, just taking it to the grassroots.
Yes.
I love stories like that. So for viewers who aren't familiar, and there's a lot of Canadian viewers who aren't familiar with Beat Factory, like these guys, they were the urban label in Canada for most of the late 80s and a good chunk of the 90s. So like a lot of Canadian hip hop came through that label, or they were managed by them. So you had Mission Me, you had Dream Warriors, as Richard had just mentioned, you had Maestro, HDV, and a few others that names are escaping me. And it's like, and those aren't like small names. Like Dream Warriors Dream Warriors sold like 1 million copies all over the world with their first album. Everyone knows Maestro, Let Your Backbone Slide, Straight from the Basement, Stick to Your Vision, all that kind of stuff. Miss You Me, Jamaican Funk, Canadian Style.
And Private Symphony on Maestro's album, which I did. Private Symphony, the slow song.
Private Symphony. And so I want, so like, that brings me to my next question. So like, you were one of the pieces that were so integral to not just Beat Factory, but bringing hip hop to the mainstream in Canada. How did you besides Dream Warriors, how did you encounter and develop like Maestro, Mishi, and all these early acts with your management?
These were people that Ivan just, Ivan just found the talent, right? And he's like, hey, there's this girl called Mishi, she's dope, man, like let's do some tracks for her. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And then put together, tracks like Jamaican Funk and On This Mic and stuff. It's just like, Ivan would go and find the talent and say, here, make some tracks. And I'd be like, okay. And that's how it was.
I want to focus on Jamaica Funk for a minute, because Jamaica Funk is unique, is because back then, like putting like island grooves and hip hop together was uncommon. The only other example before that was, I think, Roots Rap Reggae by Run DMC. So Mishi and Dream Warriors, I can't leave them out, obviously. They pioneered that type of sound. So how did you guys know that would have such did you guys know that would have like such an impact on Canadian music?
Well, not really. At the time we were just doing what felt right? There's another gentleman, I got to mention his name's Howard. He came out of the Schick Dynasty crew. I mean, he helped with a lot of the production as well, and he came with ideas that just, we always used to think outside the box, right? It wasn't like, oh, let's do this. Oh, we know it's going to blow up. It's like, hey, let's do this because this just feels cool. Right?
I feel that, and that's how it should be done. But was there ever like a time where you felt like this could like really, really blow up at some point?
No, I never. Me personally, I never felt that. Maybe others did, but I was just always doing it just for the love of making music, And
that's perfectly. That's how it should be. I agree completely, and I see a lot of dudes today. I'm not naming no names, but a lot of dudes, like, they make music to make money, and I feel that too. Like, I want to make money off my music too, but like, if you're not putting any soul into it, no one's really gonna rock with it, because it's not gonna be authentic.
Yeah, then it turns into an assembly line, right? Then you're just you're turning the knobs and you're pushing the buttons, and okay, yeah, this is gonna chart. Okay, let's do the next one. You know what I mean? You have to have that raw passion still, just to do it, and just to, when you listen back, you're like, yeah, this is dope, and hey, if it sells, great. If it doesn't sell, great. You know that in your heart you made something that's really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you mentioned you did you worked on Maestro's debut, and one of the tracks was Private Symphony.
Yeah.
And so creating that album, what was that process like? Because Maestro, like, for his time, like, he was I've kind of compared like a lot of his early stuff to like Hank Shockley and the Bomb Squad stuff, because it was so dense and sample heavy. What was that process like?
Well, I didn't do the whole album. That was Peter and Anthony Davis. Those guys did all that stuff, the crazy, the layering and the layering of the samples. I just did the one song. I just did Private Symphony. They called me in and said, hey, we need a slow song. And so I was like, well, yeah, man, I'm the guy. I'll give you that nice, laid back groove. Yeah, I can do that.
That's a sweet track.
Yeah, just that kind of real old school. But yeah, the layering and the sampling. I mean, I did that stuff on the Dream Warriors album, but that Maestro album, I just.
Okay. And so going off going off that, you guys were the pioneers for R&B and hip hop in Canada. But the thing about that is that that music, well, black music, was not really being accepted in Canada at the time. It was being shunned by radio. You'd be lucky if you got on. Was much music around at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much music was around, but it was all, everything was rock, right? I mean, I remember us walking into the Eaton Center in Toronto and having, ghetto blasters, I guess, or, those big boxes and walking in and people just looking at us like, what are you doing? And turn that shit off and, all that sort of stuff, right? And it's just funny how everything is 180 now. Everything in advertising is hip hop based, and TV shows. If you listen, it's all hip hop. Yeah, it's all hip hop. Everybody saw the potential dollar value, and it's just coming from the roots and not being able to play it loud and no, turn that you can't play it. To now, it's mine.
But that brings it back. But like I was saying back then, like, it was a struggle. Like, at some point, like, airplay just stopped. It was hard for any black artists to virtually break through. And to make matters worse, the CRTC for like a good decade wasn't trying to give no radio station like a black radio license. Like Milestone Radio, which was owned by what was his name? I forget. I should know his name.
Denham Jolly.
Yes, Denham Jolly. Like, they tried 3 times to get a license, and they kept getting passed over for rock or country stations. And in the case of the country station, CRTC straight up said, "We think country would be better for the diversity of Toronto's." I can't even. And like.
Whatever wrong. Well, that's why we did that music dance
appeal.
Right, dance appeal with Billy Bryan, God bless his soul, from the Parachute Club, and we got together and we just all created this track because it was like, man, if people won't listen to what we're saying, well, let's just do a wicked song and here, like, what more can we do? Like, let us have what we need. Right?
Yes. It's like, it's like you guys took it to the CRTC too, because you legit called it "Can't Repress the Cause."
Right.
And I remember I was listening, like months before I got to interview you, I was listening to it. Like, it shouts out to Devin. He actually has a mirror of it on his YouTube. You guys should check that out. So Devin was on it, Maestro was on it, HDV, Dream Warriors, Messenger, and a whole bunch of other Canadian dance and R&B hip hop acts were on it. It's like, and the hook was always staying in my head. Whatever they say, they can't stop dance music. It's like. Yeah. And it's like people look at us like they see Drake, they see Tory Lanez, Cardi, and all them, but it wasn't always sunshine and roses. Like, it was like a lot of guys were doing this and weren't getting fed off it. It's just like crazy just how shut out just one of the biggest rising genres was getting ignored. And you look at and around the same time, if you look across the border, like, hip hop was quickly becoming the most popular genre in that country, because gangster rap was hitting. Teddy Riley was doing this thing with the New Jack Swing along with Jam and Lewis, and you're looking at it like, why can't they listen to us?
I know it was frustrating, but. Like the old saying goes, you can't keep a good thing down, right? And here we are. Here we are, right? I mean, you can't escape hip hop. I mean, it's amazing how it's reached such a cross section of people, because before, if you're on the road and you hear like boom boom in a car, you look around and okay, it's a brother. But nowadays, like that's just totally changed, right? It's
anybody.
It's anybody, right? And which is great.
So and going off that struggle, so like there's no airplay. My Maestro around that time goes to the US to try and break in there, and hip hop while it doesn't go quiet, it's basically not heard of unless you listen to campus radio. Down here in Nova Scotia, like we still have a lot of that struggle. We tried like everything to get a hip hop station down here, and we got close. We got close a couple of times, but each and every time, like they would, whatever company was doing it, they would pivot at the last second, and they would flip to like oldies or pop top 40 or something like that.
You guys still don't have a hip an urban station down there?
No. No, we don't have we don't have an urban station. We have Rhythmic Top 40, which comes close. I'm getting the 10-minute warning that this meeting's gonna end because I'm on the free version of Zoom. So I'm gonna stop this meeting right quick and start another one. I'll send you an invite and then we can resume. How's that sound?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Straight up, girl, won't nobody disturb this groove. See, you've been more than just my lover. You've been my lady, a special friend to me. So take my hand and let's engage in a private symphony. Love all night and all through the morning. I'll still hold you tight while the beautiful sunset's forming. See, we don't need no band, baby, or no rhythm section, 'cause in this symphony, harmony's made from affection. We'll be rolling, squeezing, pleasing each girl. Yeah, baby. All over and over and over again. I could never, ever love another. And while the harmony plays, our love will never fade. 'Cause from this day until eternity, sweet music won't be made. 'Cause you've been more than just my lover. You've been my lady, a special friend to me. So take my hand and let's engage in a private symphony. I wanna hold you, baby. I wanna hold you in my arms. I'll conduct all your fantasies, baby. You and me in a private symphony. I wanna dedicate this to you, baby. Look at me. Look into my eyes. Can't you see? You and me in a private symphony. Yeah. Private symphony. You and me. Yeah. Private symphony.
We're back. Sorry for the interruption, but but the brother's not balling, so I can't have Zoom Unlimited. But I'll try to keep this on point. So I was talking, yeah, we don't have a urban station down here. It's mostly if it ain't country, it's pop, and if it ain't straight up pop, it's rhythmic top 40, which allows for some hip hop, but not quite. So
Yeah.
we'd have to rely on CKDU, which where I used to work at. That's my former place of employment. They always held it down with hip hop there. I had a hip hop show there. My cousin still has a hip hop show there. Shout out to RS Smooth Grooves. And like that's basically if you want real hip hop, that good hip hop, that's where you go. Otherwise, you have to sit on regular radio down here and wait for the hits to pop up.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, what do you think? What do you think would be needed to make that change?
Well, first and foremost, you need someone with money to make a station. I want to do that myself. That's one of my dreams, to make a dedicated hip hop station. But I need like finance, shareholders who could back me up, and a good plan, obviously. And one thing that could probably help spur that would be probably like my doing our own version of like can't repress the cause. But really, you just need someone who has the vision and who has the plan. And even if that means having to go corporate to do it, it still means like we have a dedicated black station that plays hip hop, reggae, maybe even some house. Because don't forget, house was black music too. A lot of people forget that came from Frankie Knuckles, rest in peace.
Oh yeah.
And but that's a whole other conversation I could spend hours talking on. Back to you though. So around the mid 90s, you left Beat Factory, and then you start working in TV.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, this man has done some stuff for like Chorus Entertainment that I grew up on myself. Like you've done My Special Book, Little Big Kid, Alpha 2 Omega, Warp, but this is before Treehouse itself was split off into its own separate station. This was all when YTV was still one channel for both preschoolers and teens and everything.
Yeah.
So how did you get your foot in the door with television?
Interesting story. Well, again, thanks to the Dream Warriors, YTV reached out to us to come to do an interview on the Dream Warriors. And so the interview was set up, and Beat Factory was based out of Ron Nelson's. You've heard of Ron Nelson, I guess, of course, right? Fantastic Voyage, and he was a hip hop promoter. So Beat Factory was in Ron Nelson's house in the basement, and so YTV reaches out to us and says, "Hey, we want to do this interview on the Dream Warriors," and so we were like, "Okay, sure." And so they come down, the producer and a co-producer, and they bring this camera equipment, and everybody's going down the stairs. Crammed little tiny 6x10 little room, if that, maybe it was 3x5, and hot as hell. And so they're interviewing the Dream Warriors, and then the interview's done, and then a gentleman by the name of Rick Watts, who was the executive producer at YTV at the time.
I thought that name sounded familiar.
He says to me, "Hey, Richard, have you ever thought about doing music for television?" I'm like, what do you mean doing music for television, right? Because I'm here thinking the only way to do music and make money is to do an album and go and smoke beers and do a show, right? So he's like, well, I had no idea what he was talking about. He says, well, I've got a new show. It's called It's Alive, and we're looking for an opening theme.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, that's me, bro.
Oh shit! Like I knew it was Ruben, but I didn't know that was you. I didn't see your name in the credits. Damn.
Yeah. It's Alive. It's Alive is me, because was a little skit in It's Alive.
Yeah, it originated from there. Yeah.
Right. So this is my first step into television. Was It's Alive, and so Rick was like, "Well, why don't you do an opening theme for us?" I'm like, "Well, what's an opening theme?" Like I had no idea, clueless. Right? and so he says, "Well, it's like all you got to do is like 30 seconds of you," and I'm like, 30 seconds? Here I am for the last umpteen years doing tracks for like 4 minutes. I'm like, 30 seconds, and he's like, yeah, we pay you and then you make royalties. And I had no idea, right? And so we went back, because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do this TV thing. He was like, come on, man, do it. You're going to be good at it. No, Rick, I don't know. Come on, do it. And so I caved, and I said, okay, let me try to do this theme. And so he says, we're looking for something kind of like on a horror kind of tip, right? And so the first thing that, even before I started recording, the first thing that came to me was like, right? And I'm like, oh. And so anyway, I put the track together, I send it to him, and he's like, wow, this is incredible. He sends it to the people above him, and he's like, yeah, okay, you got the gig. And so that's how It's Alive started. And then after that, once I got my foot in the door, then all the producers within YTV, I was like the go-to guy. Hey, I got a show called Warp. Yeah, man, no problem. Hey, I got a show called Alpha 2 Omega. Yeah. And it just went going like that. And then came along, and he's like, we need something really cool for So I did the theme for and the show didn't even have the green light yet. And once they heard the theme, everybody in YTV freaked, and they're like, okay, not only, okay, so we've got the green light to go ahead, and check this out, we're gonna construct the whole set based around your music.
What?
So that's why the show looks and feels so tight, because that opening animation, the very first thing they had was the music. So everything sort of fell in place after that. They did the whole opening animation based around the music. And then from that opening animation, they created the set based on the music. Crazy stuff.
Wow.
And that's how Uh-Oh came to fruition, you know, and it's just a blessing, you know. It's just a blessing, and that's how it came about. And then so with Uh-Oh, I'm doing everything. So I rap the opening theme, right? Take you on a ride to a place that's live with the music, the bumping, the make you vibe, and it's all bumping you round the corner, but play a little
Uh-Oh. Yo, that sounded that. And when you were making the theme for Uh-Oh, who was that singing on the song?
Well, that was an artist by the name of Camille that I was working with. I worked with her for about 7 or 8 years. We were doing different songs, and we were just developing her as an artist. And we got signed to a publishing deal with BMG. And then she put out a single called "Deeper Shade of Love." I don't know if you remember that song. I don't know if you
I don't think I heard that one actually.
Deeper Shade of Deep. It's a pretty cool track. Maybe Google it. But yeah, she was the one singing the track. She was in the studio one day, and it's like, hey, I got this thing for you to sing. Oh, okay, cool. And that was sort of it.
So, that's pretty dope. And so yeah, you make the song. You basically get the green light off the song essentially. And what was it? Well, no, what was it like on the set? Do you have any memories with like the cast and crew?
The cast was awesome. I mean, all those guys, Scott Yaffe, who was Wink Yahoo, of course, the voice guy who did all the announcing, Dwayne Hill, Robert Tinkler, all these guys are great guys. Robert Tinkler's doing like huge stuff in voiceover now with doing a lot of voiceover work. He's like one of the top guys in the world.
And Mr. Voiceover, he was one of the top guys. Dwayne, he's done a lot of Canadian animation.
Yeah, Dwayne and Robert Tinkler doing tons of stuff. But it was just fun. I mean, I remember we did when the Slime tour, you know, I had the opportunity of going all across Canada. So we went all across Canada, Nova Scotia, you know, Fredericton, Corner Brook, Newfoundland, all these places.
Y'all came when y'all first did the Slime tour. Y'all came to my town, but I couldn't join in it because I was still in diapers at the time.
Oh man, yeah.
I think y'all came here twice. Once you went to Halifax, and I think you went to Yarmouth the last time y'all did the Slime tour here.
Yeah, I mean, it's so far back. I think so. Yeah, I think we went to Yarmouth and a couple other places, but good times.
Yeah, it sounds like. Yeah, I remember there was a small little documentary about the show. It said the reason the Slime tour was so popular was because you guys went out of your way to go to the smaller markets, and everybody would just flock there. It would draw huge crowds. Yeah.
It was crazy. The reception, there was like rock star status. There's like oh man, it was so nice. So the excitement and just how into it people were, you know. It's cool.
Yeah, and eventually the show grew. The set got a bit of a redesign, and then you guys started getting more sponsors, better prizes, and it's just crazy. Like it's night and day between when the show first started and like a couple years later, because I've actually had the opportunity of seeing the original pilot episode of Uh-Oh. When it first aired, and the set is like night and day between when it first aired and when you watching like in 1999 2000, because the set's kind of a little plainer, but you can still see the whimsy there. But then come the turn of the millennium, everything's all sleek, all more like it's more like you're on what was that show at Arsenio Hall we had when he was airing all the music videos and stuff? The Music Machine or whatever it was called.
Before the Arsenio Hall show, before he had his own show, you mean? Or?
No, it was around the same time. Yeah,
I can't. I
think it was called. Yeah, I think it was called like the Music Machine or something like that. But that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. You could really see the money how when they had the electronic wheel instead of just the wooden wheel, and little stuff like that. It was quite the experience.
Yeah, definitely a big upgrade from It's Alive in its original incarnation.
Yes. Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, actually, I think Scott from time to time in Toronto, he does he goes to conventions and he does mini panels and he brings people up. They do slime stuff and everything.
Yeah, I think he does a lot of the Comic-Con sort of stuff, and I don't know if he goes in costume or not, but
he does. No, he does. He doesn't do the hair up no more, but he still got the dapper suits up still.
Yeah. But it was just a great experience, and then
you were the sound director too, right?
Yeah, I did, bro. Every sound in that show, it's me doing it. So, like, when you hear the wheels, so I was basically on the side of when we're filming at Global Studios, and I'm watching the gameplay. So the kids are there, and I got the earpiece on, hearing from the control truck. Okay, camera left, go to. Okay, camera 3 did it, and I'm following everything, and I'm doing everything live. So I've got a sampler that I had a Roland S550 sampler, and I'm triggering everything live. So opening theme, I hit the C chord, opening theme starts. We go into a bumper, I hit another chord, then the bumper music starts. When they go to speed round and you hear the that's me triggering another key. Everything was on the fly. Even the Plinko, remember the Plinko things?
The dump?
The dump, all the sound effects, that dump was...
Doink, doink.
Yeah, all of that is me doing stuff live. And the Plinko, when the ball is going down the Plinko board, I'm on the big pinball thing that they had, I'm on the side, and I'm doing all the pinball sounds, I'm clicking the keys, and the dump, that's the sound. So whenever the dump goes over the kids, I created the sound effect. It's a toilet flush with my mouth going. So I mixed the toilet flush with that, and then I transposed it a bit, and that's the dump sound.
That is crazy.
Really,
you made it sound like vivid, yo.
Yeah. One thing I said when I was contracted to do the sound for that show, I wanted it to be as visual as possible. I wanted it to be like you're actually in this, like in a world, right? So that's why even when the wheel is spinning and you hear that's me on the keys going.
Wait, so that's real sound?
That's real. Everything was in real time. Yeah. So I sampled like a little, I think it was my mouth. I sampled it. I just went, and so then I put it on the keys and it's going, so I'm pressing the keys. All live.
And you're just watching the camera, just seeing how it.
Exactly.
I can do it. I can do it as like I don't think I got the dexterity. But I want to jump back to the theme song a bit, and like how did that come about? Like creating it, like putting it together, because when we talked in email, because like there was the initial theme song, and then there was the 1999 remix, which added like organ stabs and some extra scratches and everything in it.
Yeah, I mean, I did the original, and then 3 years later, Rick said, "Hey, let's do an update." And so then I just thought, okay, well, what would sound cool? And I don't know, I just modernized it, just starting it off with and
was that like a guitar with a phaser on it, or was that
I'm not a guitarist. I've never played guitar ever, but it was, I don't know, I had the Roland 2080 back in the day, and I think I don't know, I took some sort of sound and I guess transposed it and ran it through something, and then I can't remember.
That makes sense because you can like transpose like most sense. Like if you put like enough distortion on, you can get like a guitarish sound. But like that's cool. That's cool though. I have it's virtual, but I have a 5080 myself.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I use a lot of Roland stuff. So like I was like, yeah, that's I love that. It's
that's
like
dope. That's how I started out. I started out my first Roland. I'm taking you back, man. My first Roland gear was a TR-606.
Oh, the drum machine.
The little silver drum machine, and I had my first synth was a JX3P.
Wow.
Yeah, and so and then I got the SH101, was the little sort of guitar keyboard thing. An 808, of course, and then I got up into the samplers. I had a Roland S330, and then I got two SY50s. But I've been Roland and Apple. They're like this. I've been Roland and Apple from the get.
You rocking with the Zen beats, I see.
Yeah, have to represent.
Yeah, and of course, me myself, as you can see, I'm rocking the gear. Shout out to Retro Crush. They're not sponsoring this video, but they did like a YTV retro package, so they were making like some classic stuff. I always rep the red team, so I had to show my colors.
Oh, that's awesome. So.
Yeah, and so right here we're gonna take a quick musical break, but we're actually gonna play the theme. But first, before we go, what do you say when the government says they want 3 years in back taxes?
Take you on a ride to a place that's live, where the music is pumping to make you vibe, where there's always something new round the corner. Gonna play a little make you jump to the beat, cause it's time for a treat, with the questions and answers to try to compete. When your time's up, say what you gonna do. Let me hear you scream, spin the wheel, speed round mayhem, you gotta spin that wheel, say what's it gonna be.
And you're back on the JoyRide with your man Vidal Gabriel. We're here with Richard Rodwell, and we've been talking like B Factory, Dream Warriors, YTV, and all that. And so like I can't understate just how much influence this man had on me, possibly you if you're a Canadian who grew up like in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, because like he did a lot for YTV, and he did especially And as I told him before, like somehow if it would be amazing if like the soundtrack was so widely available, because like the theme song, it's like this mix of techno, new jack, and like I think a little bit of breakbeat in there, and then throughout the show you have like other elements of techno. You have some go-go, like just like it's different. They're all different, but it works.
Well, one of my favorite bands is Devo, right? Like that you guys are probably Devo, man, they're crazy, but Devo and Kraftwerk, right? Like I mean,
Kraftwerk, that's a good band.
Devo, I mean, those guys are just so different. I remember buying the first album, Freedom of Choice, and I took it home and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just dope. And so a lot of the stuff, it's got that weird sort of left of center-ish kind of. Like I love that stuff, right? And then, you know.
But it fits the show because of the wackiness and the mayhem and all the slime.
Yeah.
So like you come to expect it like that off kilter stuff, but it works. It gets you hyped.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it worked out.
For sure. So you've also done stuff for commercials. You've done a Vince Carter commercial. You've done Olympics. You've also done a documentary, Raising Cain, which was about Citizen Kane and their rise into the scene. Actually, shout out to Jay Spade. I interviewed him like during the pandemic about Citizen Kane. Really cool guy. And then eventually, we get back to YTV, and you're doing some stuff for anime, and people don't realize just how much they owe like the anime boom of the 2000s to Canada, because we were dubbing a lot of stuff before like guys like Funimation were stepping in. We were dubbing Sailor Moon. We did the OG dub of Dragon Ball, like, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff too. Like how did and how did you get involved with like doing the stuff for Nelvana, like for Beyblade and Card Captors?
There was a gentleman by the name of Stephen Hudecki, who was the music supervisor over at Nelvana, and it was me. I don't know, just one day I was like, hey, you know, I kind of want to do music for cartoons, and then I just reached out. I just sent, I think, a cover letter. Hey, my name is da da da. I've done, you know, stuff with, you know, and it just sort of formed from there. You know,
going off of that, you're still working in TV, as you mentioned, and you're working with Nickelodeon and everything, and you've also done Cash Cab as well.
Yeah. Actually, did the opening theme and all of the music in Cash Cab. Funny story how I actually landed that. So Rick Watts, producer of YTV, once he left YTV, he always went to different production companies. And this is another thing for all you kiddies out there. Make sure that you establish contacts and keep in touch with people, and just be a good person that people will be like, hey, I want to work with you again. For some reason, Rick really liked me, and he kept in touch with me all through the years. So once he left YTV, he'd go to different production companies like, hey, there's a show coming out, you should try out for this. I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, I'm over here now, there's a show coming out, you should try out for this. And so Cash Cab came along, and he's like, hey, you should try out for this one. This is going to be big. Like this is going to be, because it's an ad. It was actually created, I believe, in England or one of those other countries. So they got Cash Cab America, as you know.
Oh, so it was an adaptation. Okay.
Yeah. Just like Canadian Idol, American Idol. So this is a Canadian version. And then, so the producers called me and said, oh, Rick Watts said, da, 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 da. So we'd like you, to try out for the show. This is trying out for it. So, I did a theme, and they're like, it's not bad, but try do another one. So I did another one. Then they're like, okay, can you try something that sounds sort of like Lenny Kravitz, but with a sitar in it, like that's one thing about ad agencies and some TV reps, like they just don't know, right? And so we went back and forth, and I gave them like about 9 different themes going back, try this, try that. And one day I said, you know what? I'm done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my gear down to your office, and I'm going to create something on the spot for you. And that's exactly what I did. I took my computer.
You took everything. You took everything and just said, hey, I'm setting up here. I'm showing you how I do it, and you're going to like it.
That's exactly what happened. I took my keyboard and my computer, I set it up on their little desk. Oh, we got some speakers. Oh, this is so great. Where would you like to sit? I'm like, hey man, I just need a table and a chair, and they're all like hyped. And so the associate producer is sitting right beside me, and so he's like, I'm like, okay, what do you want? He's like, oh, can you do like some rock? And so okay. And so I pull up a guitar sound and do a drum beat, whatever, and then did like a guitar, whatever I did. And they're like, oh my God, this is great. Thank you so much for coming down. And then I waited, and then 3 days later, I got the email, and they're like, yeah, we just wanted to congratulate you. You've been awarded the gig. And so that was just the start. So now I've got the gig. And now I've got to do versions that the network likes. So, I've done I'm in the production company camp. Yeah, we're rooting for you. Okay, now the head guy at the network, I had to, he's got to sign off and everything. And again, I did maybe another 5 or 6 versions, to the point
Wait, so...
And I got to admit, this was the most stressful time in my life, because they got to a point where they said to me, hey, you know what? You've got one more shot at this. If you don't get it, we're going on to somebody else. And I was like, oh man. And I don't know what kind of stars I prayed to and what kind of energy I got, but I did one more and I knocked it out of the park, and they're like, yeah, this is great. And then that's what you're hearing on TV now. But it was well worth the effort, you know? So to anybody out there, man, like, if you really, really want something, you have to do whatever it takes to get it. And that's the moral of the story.
I feel that, but it sounds so bureaucratic though. Like you had one version that was slamming to the production company that's making the show, but then you had to make a version that higher up said was better. And I was just like, I don't really like I get there's not always business dynamics at play, but I never really got that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I always look at it like this. Even when you have a debate with somebody about music, at the end of the day, it's just art. That's all it is. It's just art. So how my vision and your vision might be slightly askew. It might be slightly different. And then you've got to work and kind of work back and forth to get to where you want to get and to where I want to get. But at the end of the day, it's art. It's just ideas, right? So I don't know. For me, I just kept plugging, and I'm really glad I did.
Oh no! Well, definitely, Cash Cab is successful. You did a great theme for it, among all the other themes and various soundtracks you've done and worked on, and really though, you guys should really. Yeah, like Richard said, you guys should really keep plugging away, even if something's not successful at first. You just keep making something that somebody's gonna love. Yeah, and it'll be well worth it, and you'll be making good money off it too.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you've got to do what's right in your heart, and you've got to keep going. Don't quit. Don't, because sometimes it's hard, man. It's hard being an artist, and oh man, is anybody ever gonna like my stuff? Is anybody gonna see my vision, right? But you just keep going and keep reinventing yourself. You know, just because you make dope trap beats, don't just be stuck in the trap beat pigeonhole. You know, try and diversify. Try, you know, just say to yourself, hey, you know what? One day I'm gonna make a country beat. It might suck, but it might be dope, right? It might be, you might find a different way of doing things in your brain. And, you know, sometimes that's why I like to mess around with different DAWs, different audio workstations. I'm a Logic guy through and through, but sometimes I'll just for something to do, just to test your brain. Like I'll, you know, download it like a Fruity Loops or some other little program and just see, hey, let me see what I can come up with. All right? Always good to push your brain constantly. Test yourself. Say, hey, you know, even in Logic. I mean, even right now. Look, everybody, I'm working in Logic right now. I'm actually working on a track for some TV stuff, and it's like Logic has got thousands of sounds, right? But why don't you go into the sounds that you never always use and see if you can create something? You know, that's where the real creativity comes from.
I love that right there, because that's something I try to do. Like if I feel something's bland from my usual sounds, I dig in and see what I haven't done and see what I can come up with. And if you squeeze hard enough, just might be a diamond.
Exactly. That's exactly how you got to think. Keep pushing yourself, and sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit.
You did 2 songs for Card Captors, one of which I could not get because I got blocked everywhere for some reason.
Which one did you try to get?
Let's Go. I ended up
Go.
getting Whenever You Try instead. and then you also did All Across the Nation for Beyblade and for
You should
Metabot.
have asked me, man. I think
I did.
I think I got Let's Go on the old computer that I did.
I did, but but when I was looking for it, it was like it got late. I was like, I don't want to. I know he's an hour behind me, but I don't want to bother this man late at night and stuff.
Just ask, man.
but yeah, you did a song for Beyblade, you did a song for Metabots,
Yeah,
and it's just. Yeah, and it's like people will often brag on some of these dubs, and probably rightfully so, because a lot of stuff was changed in translation to a ridiculous degree. There was censorship and all that, which happens when you broadcast stuff on the kids network. That's inevitable. But like your songs are stuck with like a lot of Canadian kids who grew up watching those shows, and so they can't. Yeah, I'm not just saying that just the biggest man up. Like this is a dude. This is a dude who literally, like, without me knowing, like, shaped a lot of my childhood from the pre-K to like grow to like getting into my teen years and everything. And plus, he was also instrumental in like shaping my taste in like hip hop, because like I love Maestro, I love Mishi, Dream Warriors, and all of them, and like I actually have the Beat Factory compilations, and I have all their albums and everything. Cause like I love the stuff he did. I love the stuff Beat Factory did and what these artists did and how they shaped Canadian hip hop and hip hop in general, if you want to be honest. Because a lot of these, even though they might be ignored by like the US or the wider world, these are artists that should be spoken in the same names of like Queen Latifah or a who am I looking for, like a Rakim, or even a Tribe Called Quest. Those are they're on that upper echelon in my opinion.
Cheers, man. Thank you. And I again to all you kiddies out there, if anybody who's getting into music, I would strongly suggest that you diversify your palette as much as possible, because I wouldn't be able to do the music that I can do and be so versatile if I didn't listen to Rush, if I didn't listen to the Cars, if I didn't listen to Fleetwood Mac and Bon Jovi, and you have to really, because a lot of sometimes people get pigeonholed, right? Oh, that's rock, man. Oh, man, that's rock, man. But I'm telling you, it really rounds you out as somebody, because when you're creating music, as you know, sometimes a lot of times you're pulling on stuff subconsciously.
Oh yeah.
Like, I was listening to a band. I was listening to a track I did the other day for the new Index album, and I'm listening to the drums that I did. So I did this drum pattern on one of these songs. It's like, and some guitar stuff over back that I did on my keyboard. And for some reason, when I grew up, I listened to it. This is way before your time, maybe, but I listened to a band called the Stranglers, and the Stranglers is a punk rock group from England, and something told me to just listen to them because they're one of my favorite groups when I was growing up. And I was listening to this one song called I think it's called Genetics, and all of a sudden I hear this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I must have subconsciously, not even thinking about it, but I'm like, oh shit, that sounds like the thing I did on this new Index track, So your subconscious is always working in the background. So that, again, I'm just going back to my point of submerge yourself in stuff that you normally wouldn't listen to.
Just don't make it obvious so you don't take it to court.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, the more stuff you listen to, the more your subconscious will just pick up little tiny things, and that's it.
That is good advice though, because even though I do a lot of rap, like I do you hear a lot of R&B inflections in my work. I grew up. What really got me into music personally was Michael Jackson, and so like Billie Jean to me was like the most sonically perfect song you could make. And so I got into the stuff of Quincy Jones. I got into Rod Temperton and his crew, Heatwave, the James Ingram, and then that branched me into getting into Bobby Brown, Teddy Riley, New Edition, Jam and Lewis, and now I'm slowly getting into electronic stuff like house, breakbeat, techno, and all that, and trying my hand at it. So it's always you may not be able. So like I'll put it like this: you may not be able to do everything, but it's good to have some working knowledge of other genres, so like you can incorporate it and sound more versatile.
Yeah, you hit the nail. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, Jam and Lewis, those are my boys, man. Those are my boys. Those guys I
think Jam and Lewis are the guys who can do everything because they've done New Jack, they've done like Prince's sound, they've done like Janet, they've done like straight up hip hop, like house, like they rock. Like what can't these dudes do? Honestly.
Yeah. Those guys are serious, man. I remember seeing the SOS band in concert at Concert Hall, and I was like, man, these guys just really good.
Oh yeah. So before we start wrapping things up, what's your opinion on current music today, the sounds, the production styles, and everything?
Well, there's some really innovative stuff. Some of the trap stuff and like what they're doing, like it's like, wow, really, really cool. But then on the other side of it, just for the hell of it, the other day I turned on, there's a station up here, Kiss 92.5. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just listen to the current stuff. And I'm like, oh man, like it's carbon copy. It's like, Ed Sheeran and all these people, everything's calypso now. So everything's got that backbeat,
That's not surprising though. Everyone first they were jocking hip hop, now they're jocking the island music, reggae, calypso. Soon they'll be doing soca stuff. You'll be hearing that. You'll be hearing that caravan.
you know what I mean? And now I noticed that the new, so they're slightly weaning off of the calypso, but now they're doing the new hot beat is which is Take On Me. You know that song, Take On Me? Yeah. So if you listen,
it's like that Euro beat.
That is the hot thing now. I heard the same beat Ed Sheeran's on a new track with this and Harry Styles, and so I'm like, oh man, like, guys, just come out with something really, really original. But it's hard, I guess. I don't know, but
it's not necessarily. I wouldn't call it hard. It's like, because in the music industry, especially if you're on a big label, you got deadlines to meet, and a lot of guys, especially now, they're using like sample loop packs. And don't get in. Before I go on, I'm not knocking sample loop packs at all. I use sample loop packs. I've used Norma Cook stuff. I've used Best Service stuff. Like, but the thing is though, it's a matter of how you use it. So like, I could take a drum loop, chop it up, and whatever. Same with the synth, but like if you're just using just a plain loop, people will notice and say, oh, this guy bit this dude, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, be as original as you can. I've never used that sample loop stuff. If anything, I'll make a beat myself and sample it, and then I'll detune it and chop it and do all that stuff. But I mean, sample loop stuff is good. But I think to be totally 100% creative, just do everything from scratch. Yeah.
I feel that I do try to be as original as I can, but like, if I'm gonna incorporate like a drum loop or something, I'm at least gonna do it my way, put some of my flavor on it. Yeah. And so also concerning the current shift to hip hop, like I think a lot of them using like the the soca breakbeats and stuff, a lot of that came from Drake because when he dropped, because Toronto always had like a big Caribbean influence. That's why we had Caribbean and stuff. Even over here in Nova Scotia, we got deep roots with the Caribbean too. But like when Drake drops like Views, that was, what'd you say?
Controller, like when he did that.
And not just Controller, there was one dance which was Afro beats. Like basically that entire album, people were like, yo, we gotta hop on this. And people were already hopping on it for years. Like, let's go back to the Beat Factory days of when they were a label. Let's look at Cardinal Official. Let's look at the Rascals. They were already doing that. Missing Me was already doing that. Like, but like that was a thing for decades in Canadian music and hip hop, and then the mainstream was like, oh, let's use this now.
Yeah, you hit it on the head exactly.
Yeah, because we were the innovators for that, and I'm getting the 10-minute warning again, so I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. And all so, right. What is Mr. Rodwell doing now? You mentioned you were working on a new album for someone. Yeah,
new Index album. We album's complete. We're going into the mastering stage right now, and this is going to be cool. This is going to be some really, really cool stuff.
Can we get any guesses as to how it's going to sound?
Duran Duran meets Depeche Mode meets the Pet Shop Boys meets Marilyn Manson.
That's all mix. I'll have to listen to this.
Yeah, some different stuff, man. Very cool.
And what have you been doing in television currently?
Currently, like I said, I'm doing some stuff with Nickelodeon, just doing some tracks for them, and doing singing in the cartoons as well, and and doing voiceover work as well. And so it's like just jumping in, just doing it all, right? Just doing it all.
And one more thing, where can people find you? Where can they get your work?
RichardRodwell.com. It's simple. Richard RODWELL.com. Got my email thing there. Just click the little email button like you did. I mean, there's a snippets of my work and what I've done, and I keep it simple, you know.
Okay. Thanks for your time. Thanks so much.
Cheers, man.
And to close out of here, we're actually going to play some cuts from Beyblade and Card Captors. So thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time.
Doing it all across the nation. Took the battle now for world domination. Cool in their hip, you better get a grip. The battle has begun, so let it rip. Beyblade, watch out, 'cause here we come. Let it rip now, let's go now. Battle Tops is gonna be number one. Let it rip now, let it go now. The battle's on now, it's time to take it. With all my friends, yeah, I know that we can make it. Gotta use your brain in order to attain the number one position in the game. Beyblade, watch out, 'cause here we come. Let it rip now, let's go now. Battle Tops is gonna be number one. Let it rip now, let it go now. Beyblade, watch out, 'cause here we come. Let it rip now, let's go now. Battle Tops is gonna be number one. Let it rip now, let it go now.
fed, trying to cop the back of the bread. Some called it the lead. Food for thought, clap to the head, maxing instead. It came to me on the rocket by the 41st bacon shop. Doing when a rocket won't stop it. Domestic cats wanna hate minds, cause I'm building great minds. Words will never break minds, word of signs. Heard it through the grapevines, pulling lines, story of fake cats with fake minds.